From our studio and our office at the corner of 8th and Walton in Bentonville, Arkansas, welcome to Saturday Morning Meeting. Brought to you in part by Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corp., the leading provider of credit and credibility solutions for businesses. Saturday Morning Meeting covers Wal-Mart, Sam's Club, and the consumer product companies that are represented on the racks and shelves throughout the country and around the world. Our focus is on the insights, trends, and best practices to help you as a supplier grow your business with the world's largest retailer. I'm Dirk right now, and thank you for joining us. Today, Andy Schuch is going to be discussing the emerging trends and opportunities in retail analytics with two of the guys who know it best, Ross Cully and James Farmer from the Harvest Group. And joining us today to review this week's top retail news is Ram Ramasamy from Tata Consultancy and Colby Beelan from K-Stack. But first, the headlines. New York Times columnist Timothy Egan made headlines in some unexpected ways last week after he wrote a piece critical of Walmart. Vice President of Walmart Communications David Tovar responded on the company's blog using bright red ink to mark up the Times article with Walmart's side of the story. It began, quote, "Tim, thanks for sharing your first draft." The response went viral. The speculation's over about who will lead Walmart Canada. Dirk, who most recently worked for the Delahayes Group, assumes the role of CEO on August 1st, according to a Walmart press release. He'll report to Shelley Broader, the new head of Walmart's Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. Berghe arrives during a time of intense competition in Canada from several rival grocery and big box chains. Walmart is revamping its merchandising operations in the United States with the appointment of 13 merchandising executives. According to Bloomberg, 7 of them are women, including a 5-year veteran, Michelle Glocker, who was promoted to Executive Vice President of Consumables and U.S. Manufacturing. 20-year Walmart veteran Scott Huff assumes the role of Executive VP over U.S. merchandising operations. For most of us, it's still the early days of summer, but Walmart's team is paying close attention to holiday sales. Ad Age reports that Walmart recently held a holiday gift event that targeted journalists and editors. Attendees at the event got a sneak preview of what Walmart believes will be some of the best sellers this November and December, including Frozen and Hunger Games branded products. Walmart has a China problem, and Forbes seems to think that nobody knows how to fix it. A recent story on Forbes.com highlights the way in which Walmart hasn't succeeded in the world's most populous nation. The article notes that Walmart's Chinese operations are 18 years old, but only operates 405 stores. Forbes believes that Walmart doesn't truly understand Chinese consumer behavior. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon recently noted that not moving fast enough in the world of e-commerce is risky business. So it's no surprise that Walmart.com's new CEO has some big plans for his division. The Street reports that Walmart is putting a lot of effort into e-commerce innovation, including projects that incorporate e-commerce with in-store sales. Walmart also plans to invest in talent acquisition and long-term growth. The worst-kept secret in the tech world was revealed last week when Amazon announced its new Fire Phone, a smartphone that tethers users to Amazon through a blend of apps, content, and data. Forbes.com reports that the phone is also connected to Amazon's Prime loyalty program and will offer access to services already included in Amazon's Kindle products, such as the Mayday option, which allows users to connect with a tech support person via a video chat at the click of a button. On WalmartNewsNow.com, you'll find Walmart and supplier news as it's reported, all gathered on one site. And we're joined now by our panel, Colby Beelan from K-Stack and Ram Ramasamy from Tata Consulting. Guys, thank you for coming in. Colby, I want to start with you because something that has really just lit up social media this week has been Walmart's response to a New York Times article, and there's a whole lot of red ink in there that David Tovar has supplied to the New York Times. What was your take on that?
I was proud of Walmart to stand up. It's the first time I've seen something like that come out publicly, where Walmart actually seems to be defending itself and setting the course straight, or giving factual information to back things up that have been misconceptions or perceptions in social media and the blogosphere world.
Well, it's been good to see them really take the offensive here, because that's what they, I think, have been needing to do and defending themselves. Ron, I want to come to you. Your take on reading kind of what Tovar had done and reaction to that.
I think it's a job well done. I think they're standing for themselves. I mean, the people have been going after Walmart for quite some time, and I think it's a job well done. It's a footprint of the new leadership in place, and it's the right way to go.
You know, you bring up the new leadership in place, and I think when I first saw this, I certainly think that Doug McMillon's fingerprints are all over it, which is I'm happy to see. I mean, I have a lot of respect and admiration for Doug, and we're continuing to see Doug make some changes. In addition to the New York Times and all the red ink that was out there this week, 13 new executives and they're not all new, they've kind of been moved around, but 13 different people are going to be helping out in merchandising. Ram, I'll come to you. And
I think it's a good move. I think in any time there is a leadership changes, we see the footprints being imprinted all across, with the U.S. sales being stagnant and comp sales. It's imperative that the new leaders are empowered, and then they compete with the marketplace, which has been more competitive than ever, actually, especially from the e-commerce side. There's a big talk on Amazon eating everybody's lunch, but I truly believe brick and mortars can change the game and flip the script and be very, very successful.
Cully, I want to come back to you, because out of these 13 executives that have been put in place, surprisingly, 7 of them are women.
Yep. It's much needed. I mean, it's something that people have criticized Walmart for extensively for years, is there's not enough women leadership within the organization. So again, I think it's back to your point, McMillan, and he's got his fingers. He's making a lot of changes. I mean, it seems like every time you and I talk, there's a new change, and it's hard to keep up with. But you've got a new CEO in Canada, you've got a new CEO of e-commerce, you've got 13 new merchandising executives. You're seeing Walmart defend themselves publicly in the press. It's just McMillan's making his changes in his first 100 days, and he's executing a plan, and he seems to have a plan. I mean, right. A very defined one, and he's getting there quickly. That's what's exciting.
I'm really excited to see it. I had a chance to meet with the market manager this week, who has seen some of the changes already beginning to come back. I mean, and he's been there 26 years, but really beginning to see a focus kind of back on the merchandising aspect of it, which Doug obviously was a merchant and was a GMM for a number of years, buyer and a GMM for a number of years. So it's almost exciting, particularly as a supplier, because as things begin to change in merchandising, it becomes more of a focus. I'm optimistic now. And not that I was pessimistic before, but certainly optimistic about where things go. And I want to come back to you, Ram, on the e-commerce, because Walmart does have a new CEO. That's part of Doug's changes. They brought in a guy who's been running the Latin America side of it. What impact do you see that having on the business?
I think it's a huge right direction, actually. If you take a step back and see what capabilities are required to compete in the marketplace in the e-commerce, there are 3 of them. One is the world's best, the largest catalog that you need to have. The channels, that number of channels which customers can seamlessly interact with you with the same level of experience. Third one is fulfillment at the point of interest. Engage customers wherever you could. And then all this put together with the adapting to the inversion of retail philosophy, I think Walmart is greatly positioned if they can quickly, in an agile manner, build these capabilities and engage the customer and know the customer. I think they can truly flip the script and be very competitive. In all of this, what is lost is Walmart.com is the 4th busiest traffic site apart from Amazon, eBay, and Netflix. So that's lost in all of this. Yes, they have to do some catch-up. I think they are in the right place where they want to be. And it'll be a great story if they can execute all their strategies.
Well, and Amazon continues to kind of spread in that gap. They launched a new phone this week that's going to be really about control and helping to drive more business back to that website. What do you see Walmart, what do you think they need to do to really grow that e-commerce?
As I said in the last segment, is building those capabilities as quickly as possible. And then the second part is culturally, they have been a company focused on this inversion of retail is a recent phenomenon in the last 10 years, where the company was fully dedicated to moving products faster, cheaper, and better. Now the whole game is changed around the customer space. How well the entire company can revolve around that strategy and quickly move out, that will be the biggest gain.
Go ahead. Colby, I'm going to come to you real quick.
Well, the biggest thing is Walmart is innovation, and they're the leader in retail innovation, and they continue to reinvent themselves. They may be number 4 today, but they have the money and the clout and the customer base, the consumer base, and the brick and mortars that the consumer ultimately wants to tie it all together. When they tie it together, they will be the leader.
Yeah, Colby is right. This intersection of physical and digital, right. They are best positioned than anybody else with the muscle power to get it done. I mean, the other way around, Amazons of the world doesn't have something like that, actually.
Yeah, and they've got some stiff competition coming up from Target as well as from Kroger. All right, guys, we're out of time for now. Thank you very much. Stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to talk about how valuable your retail data is as Saturday Morning Meeting continues.
GigWalk is an on-demand mobile workforce that can collect data and do work at retail. Businesses use GigWalk for retail audits, merchandising, and much more. With 350,000 smartphone-enabled workers available on demand, you get unprecedented speed and coverage across the U.S., Canada, and the UK. And all work is reviewed for quality and accuracy. Visit gigwalk.com to learn more.
Bentonville Plaza, across the street from the Wal-Mart home office. The best office location offers proximity and services like no other business complex in the area. Call 479-200-1112 today.
Welcome back. Here with us today to discuss retail analytics is Ross Cully and James Farmer from the Harvest Group. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
So, Ross, most of us know the Harvest Group as a headquarters sales group. Recently, though, we're hearing a little bit more about your data and analytics and insights division. How did that come to be?
Yeah, you know, we exist to grow our clients' business, and constraints often fuel innovation. So as a small entrepreneurial business that has limited resources, working with many small and medium-sized companies that also have limited resources, we've had to come up with ways to grow business besides a big marketing budget. And so one of those ways over the last 8 years that we've helped our clients grow is diving deeper into data and analytics. As we've done that, we've come up with some proven solutions that have worked. And as we look at the general marketplace surrounding Walmart, we think that there's an unmet need for these higher level analytics in the supplier community.
Well, now, analytics, it kind of seems to be a kind of a wide-ranging term. Why is it important, and what exactly is it?
Andy, let me start with why it's important. If you look at the chart on the screen right now, you'll see this is what distribution and sales look like across 4,000 different stores. And here in Bentonville, in Northwest Arkansas, we have a tremendous amount of data, and all of that data is really rich with all these different stores. It turns out that averages just don't tell us that much. In fact, with 4,000 stores with an item, there's about 4,000 different things going on. That's why they're important. So just
average units per store per week or something like that just doesn't give us enough?
It's interesting. If you look at your average units per store per week and say your item moves 2 units per store per week, the number of stores across the entire chain that are actually moving to is probably about 30 to 40 stores.
Well, wait a minute, though. We all use units per store per week.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we shouldn't get away from units per store per week. Right. The opportunity is really to peel apart the chain, peel apart all these individual stores, look at local analytics and local insights to find patterns and relationships that they're there. I mean, the patterns and relationships are there. They're just waiting to be uncovered because you've got to think about all of these as choices the customer's making. These are individual choices when somebody buys something, and they do that over and over, and we've got billions and billions of records of choices that people are making. By looking at those, there's lots of new opportunities and growth opportunities to grow people's business with analytics. That's why they're important. Now, I think there's kind of a misconception in terms of what they are, because what analytics are a pre-proven way of understanding and getting the information out of the data. I think when you say analytics, people think of my weekly reporting.
Right.
Well, what analytics are think about if Home Depot or Lowe's came to you had bought a lot, they dropped off some lumber, they dropped off some drywall, they put the tools there. Those are all the pieces we have. We've got the tools with some business intelligence software that's been developed. We've got Nielsen, which is the drywall. We've got Retail Link, which is the lumber. Now you got to put it together. There's 2 options. You could just start hammering away, at which case you'd have a house that either looks horrible or falls apart.
Or that's how my house would look.
Or you could have a pre-proven way of putting it all together.
So
and that's where analytics comes in.
Help guide you along the process?
Right.
Because, I mean, when you talk about the analytics and kind of how deep you're going with it, I don't think that's something I could do. And I don't know that like a VP of sales or a supplier that's calling a Walmart maybe has an analyst or something like that. Does everyone have the skills to do kind of what you're talking about?
No, they don't. Andy, you know, I was just at a conference last week where Walton, University of Pennsylvania, and Harvard bring together their PhD candidates and present their research. And one of the things that was talked about at this industry conference was there's really an HR issue in our industry. There's a lack of skills and training and higher level statistics that are in our industry. And so when we think about how technology is caught up to now we have all these data sources and we have the software to put it together, and many times we don't have the people in our organizations that can peel below the averages and find those relationships in the data.
But the buyers want that, right? I mean, the buyers want that analytics because I think what it really does is it adds value for, you know, a company that comes in with that kind of analytics. It adds a lot of value.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
So where are we kind of in the maturity of analytics right now?
This is where it gets really exciting. We're probably in the second or third inning. And that's really exciting because it means a couple things. It means there's tremendous amount of opportunity for new business growth. There's a tremendous amount of margin still waiting to be extracted from the data. Margin and growth of people's individual businesses. And it's exciting because what it means, we're so early on in the game that there's lots of innovation. You'll see new innovation and new companies like the Harvest Group and the Data and Insights Division begin to pop up and begin to work with and serve and create on this data in ways that we haven't done in the last 30 years.
So you get the data. What do you do with it? I mean, once you kind of get that data in and you start putting all the analytics together, is it to go present to a buyer? Is it to go make changes within replenishment, to make changes within the sales? How is it actually being used?
Yeah, I think one of the areas that it's used really well today is actually in the supply chain. We think about using all these granular pieces of information. There's a great amount of information. It's used very well in the supply chain. When we look at using it to understand the shopper, build merchandising solutions, and grow businesses, that's where the opportunity really exists today.
Okay, so the challenges to date have been more behind the scenes, technical. Where are the opportunities going forward?
Yeah, you think about the history of where we've been. I remember I was part of the P&G team, and I heard the story of the first time retailing data came through the fax machine.
They had the fax machine, and then they have you had a computer you had to buy from Walmart.
Right.
I think, and you had to put it in your office, and it was direct lined in or whatever you call that. But
yeah, so just the novelty of wow, I know what's selling through Walmart is where this thing started. And now we've got the addition of syndicated data. We've got software and technology tools that can help us look at that data and organize it. The place where we think it's going is when we have that technology and that data is having minds behind it and having math and statistics behind it that find patterns that uncover business growth. And so there's intuitive business growth. Mr. Sam was a great merchant. He got business growth through just intuition a lot of times. We think through technology and math, you can come up with statistical business growth opportunities at the localized level, which is something that obviously Walmart's focused on as they mature.
There's two really obvious opportunities in the near term. The first one is to simply start building a plan. McKinsey & Company recently did a survey and published an article around big data and how people are using it across all industries. And what they found was really interesting. They found that most people don't even have a plan. There's no plan. And so the immediate opportunity is to build a plan. And I think a lot of companies are saying, I'm really good at brand management. I'm really good at manufacturing. I'm really good at marketing and sales. I need to outsource this. I need to find a partner. Just like I have a shopper marketing partner, I need to find a data partner, a data agency partner. And then the second opportunity in the near term is beginning to create content. Where all of the value lies is not in big, sophisticated spreadsheets that look like they're going to take 3 days to understand. All of the value lies in the stories that exist in the data and creating content on top of it so that you could begin to go explain and talk to merchants so you can be a merchant.
Wow. Well, hey, we're going to talk more with Ross Cully and James Farmer from the Harvest Group when we get back. We're going to take a quick break. Saturday morning meeting. We'll continue right after this.
K-Stack, the leader in collaborative retail consolidation programs. We offer the supply chain expertise needed to navigate the challenges of selling products with the world's largest retailers. And we provide customers with a customizable, scalable, environmentally sustainable supply chain with the same advanced technology typically used by larger rivals. By leveling the playing field, K-Stack lowers distribution costs and increases overall margins. K-Stack, retail logistics is what we do.
Imagine what it would be like if you knew the weather up to a year in advance. What would you do differently for your business or your life? At Weather Trends, we don't imagine it, we do it. We're a team of meteorologists, mathematicians, and business weather advisors. And we've spent the last 20 years developing a new way to forecast months in advance. We've been studying weather's effect on product sales based on every 1 degree change in temperature. We can now take your sales data and show you exactly how the weather impacts your business down to a single degree. We're leading the way into a new era in forecasting and a new power in business decisions. And we invite you to join us. Welcome to Weather Trends.
Bentonville Commerce, less than 1 mile from the Walmart home office. You'll love the convenience, amenities, and customized options Bentonville Commerce offers. For more information or a tour, call 479-200-1112 today.
You know, the biggest challenge of working with Walmart is they really expect everyone on the team to know their language, know their terminology, and know exactly how they do business. So that's where 8th and Walton really comes into play. You know, it's the fastest way to get my team members up to speed.
Their business model is suppliers teaching suppliers. So when you come to 8th and Walton, you can count on having very experienced trainers who understand how suppliers work within Walmart, and they take advantage of that and incorporate that into their curriculum.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting. We're talking with Ross Cully and James Farmer from the Harvest Group about the future of retail analytics. So, progressive suppliers, do you see a shift in the resources from kind of going from getting the information to actually understanding the information?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And the first step is just thinking that way. Today, we don't even think that way. We just think about, I have to get my data, I got to get it organized, put it in the database. We just think about the end point for a lot of the work that people do today is just getting the data. But certainly progressive companies will shift from spending resources against acquiring the data to doing something with it. From our vantage point, people spend like 10 to 15% right now in terms of getting data and understanding it. And really what we see in the next couple of years is that's going to shift. As technology continues to get cheaper and cheaper, acquiring all this data and doing all the back-end stuff is not becoming more complex. So the cost of some of this stuff should go down. And what will happen over time is that'll flip. And companies will flip the resourcing so that the resourcing is against understanding it, which if you think about it intuitively, it should be.
Right.
Why even get it if you're not going to understand it?
Well, and typical resources are spent on shopper marketing, retail, other areas. And you're seeing that shift from there over into the analytics side.
Well, the interesting thing about analytics is it's really relevant to all of the functional areas. Yeah, it's relevant to supply chain, it's relevant to marketing, it's relevant to sales. And so I think what we're going to see is a new type of company emerge that's an outsourced partner to these companies that helps them understand their data for all of those areas of their business.
Yeah. So how today are you guys at the Harvest Group beginning to unlock the stories and opportunities that are in the data that we already have?
Yeah, it's a great question. So how are you doing it? What are you doing?
How are you doing it?
It's great ideas. Sounds like there's so much information there, but where do you start?
Exactly.
And you know, to follow up on Ross's point from a minute ago, the easiest place to start is with a simple project. Just start working with a data agency like the Harvest Group and work on a very simple project. It doesn't have to be complex. How we're thinking about it and how we're doing it today is under a system called LODA. We call it LODA, which is local data. And it's a collection of, it turns out there's a tremendous amount of just free information that's out on the internet, that's out on the internet of everything. We're collecting data, the government's collecting data, cities are collecting data, companies are collecting data, and it's basically all out there. And so LODA, for us, collects all that information. So if you're selling in a new sewage, a septic system item, and you want to understand where septic tanks are throughout the country, that information is there. And that's what we call LODA. It's the collection of all the local community profiles. And then from there, we've built 5 solutions to begin with. And for us, it's important to note, this is a beginning point. Again, I reference back to the beginning. We're in the 2nd or 3rd inning here. So this is a beginning point, and we've built 5 solutions that tackle very specific opportunities and provide answers to the questions people are asking.
And so, what are those solutions?
You'll see them on the screen right now. This is Smart Season, OSA Score, behavior mining. Sometimes people actually ask us to come in and say, I like your thinking. I like what you guys are doing. Can you take this and then modify it just a little bit and tackle this business opportunity I have? And so the important thing to note is that all of these are local analytic, local insight type of solutions where we come in and we don't work with companies and provide software to them. What we're really providing to them is solutions.
Well, and Walmart's already doing a lot of their own analytics for their own stores, trying to understand their customer and trying to do those types of things. So how does this kind of blend together with what Walmart is doing and with what you guys are doing?
Well, what's been great about the Walmart and supplier community relationship over the years is there is this collaboration that goes on. And so as they're focused on localization and diving into how do I get a different modular for every store, as they're trying to build these ecosystems that tether small formats, they are focused on those things. The questions for suppliers is this: are they able to focus at that granularity? And so you ask how we're doing it or what are some of the things we're doing. One of the projects that we're working on with some progressive suppliers right now is understanding small formats. How do I use data?
Well, that's where the growth is going to come here over the next few years, right? Okay.
Exactly. So how do I look at those small formats, understand the assortment, understand what's going on in and around those stores? And so that's an example of one of the questions that I think the answer to your question is Walmart is working on it. Suppliers need to be working on it too.
Yeah, they do. Thanks, guys. You know, it's exciting to see new types of companies like the Harvest Group begin to emerge and really, for the first time in some cases, begin to do things with our data that's never really been done before. Well, Ross and James, thanks for joining us today. Stick around. Saturday morning meeting will conclude right after this.
Every day, shoppers are bombarded with traditional brand messages outside the store in hopes that these marketing dollars will drive in-store sales. Closure Media drives retail sales by connecting brands with 95 million Walmart shoppers per year while they are in the store. Through innovative programs at Walmart's photo and money centers, Closure Media converts Walmart shoppers to purchasers of your brand. With reported redemption rates up to 7 times the national FSI average, Closure Media drives sales. For more info, visit us at closuremedia.com.
Bentonville Plaza, across the street from the Wal-Mart home office. The best office location offers proximity and services like no other business complex in the area. Call 479-200-1112 today.
Are you a single parent struggling to meet your family's needs? Single Parent Scholarship Fund is here to help. Single Parent Scholarship Fund of Northwest Arkansas helps hundreds of single parents get an education. By providing scholarships and support, a brighter future is right around the corner for you and your family.
We should know, in 2007, I graduated with my bachelor's degree in organizational management. Single Parent Scholarship Fund helped make my dream a reality. My kids are so proud of me, and now they declare themselves as college-bound.
I would recommend 8th and Walton to other suppliers because from my experience talking to other suppliers, they were even learning new ideas or just new and better business practices.
Most people have little time for training, and so 8th and Walton is a perfect opportunity to send your new employees to understand the retailing system. And again, because trainers were suppliers, they know the how and the why, so they become very valuable very quickly.
Our thanks to all of today's guests, and be sure to join us next week for our meeting with Doug Keller of the Infinity Product Group, who talks about Walmart, supplier advice, and licensed apparel. As always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. If you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. I'm Dirk Ridner, and from all of us at Saturday Morning Meeting, thanks for watching.